Hello. You haven't seen me for a few days now, and there is a rational explanation for that because we were extremely sick. And basically, I met the new 2022 in bed, and as it turned out to be, it was a very serious seasonal flu. So I'm just recovering. So, but I decided to make sure that you remember about me. And I need to convey a couple of points today. I'll try to make the video not very long, but it's important. First, Kazakhstan. Uh, One thing which people inevitably start speculating is that, oh yeah, it's probably American or Western response for Russia's ultimatum to NATO. And I want to be very cautious here because definitely it is a well-known fact, and it's been confirmed and actually commented on many occasions that yeah, there are some certain intelligence services and NGOs from the West which do partake in this chaos which is currently happening in Kazakhstan. But we have to keep in mind one very substantial fact of life in Kazakhstan, as it is true for many stans which constitute the Russia's soft underbelly in Middle Asia. They were always like that. You have to remember that the collapse of the Soviet Union started not even from the famous events around Azerbaijan and Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh, which exploded big time in 1988, and especially in February with the tragedy in Sumgait in Azerbaijan, and then basically the whole chaos started to unfold, driven both by Armenian nationalism and Azerbaijani Mossavitism. So it's been that since 1988, but in 1986, during an attempt, and which was at that time sort of successful, of the Soviet Politburo's Central Committee to install, instead of the local guy, to be the first secretary of the Communist Party of Kazakhstan, Gennady Kolbin, who was ethnic Russian. It all exploded there big time. Believe me, my friends who at that time were completing their border guards academies in Almaty, and which is Almaty, I don't know how to call it, and were serving there. It was the first time when it exploded big time with the troops on the streets, and it took some effort and time to suppress that. But since the collapse of the Soviet Union, and especially sometimes dramatic purging, sometimes slow pushing out of the ethnic Russians from all those independent states, things didn't really get well or better in there. Many people don't understand that the first thing they tried on those Middle Asian countries to create it was to recreate their outwardly signs of their prosperity, which were shopping malls and expensive expensive apartments and apartment blocks, and then of course condos, and also the skyscrapers. But obviously behind all that, like it is the case with in Arab satrapies in the Gulf, where everybody looks at Dubai and say, oh my god, so beautiful, which it is not. It's ugly, actually. It's concrete and tasteless concrete and glass structures, but behind that are misery, poor people, being a majority of them being absolutely poor. And I'm not talking about the slave labor in Kazakhstan, as it is, for example, the case in Gulf states, but I mean, it's these are poor countries. Kazakhstan, apart from some ores, including very valuable uranium, it really doesn't have that much in terms of industry anymore. And you have to understand that basically the most of the industry is located in the northern parts of Kazakhstan, which is predominantly populated by Russians, and it was always the part of Russian Empire. But apart from the historical issues of Kazakhstan never being a nation until Bolsheviks came to power and Soviet Union was created, truth is it was always violent, it was always unstable. And today, if you look at the economic situation, and especially with the gas prices just growing through the roof, there was a very significant and economic reason for people who are already poor. They barely survive in many places there to explode. After that, of course, what happens, that happens, somebody tries to capitalize on that. There probably was some input from the Western NGOs and intelligence services trying to destabilize Kazakhstan, but do not forget that Kazakhstan is the part of the ODKB, which is the organization of the mutual security, which is basically number of the former Soviet republics and headed by Russia. So President Tokayev of Kazakhstan already asked the help from ODKB, and believe me, the help will be provided, and eventually this chaos will be suppressed, and so we'll see where it all goes. But that brings us to the second point, that many people say, oh, okay, it's American or Western response to Russia's NATO ultimatum. Today, John Psaki already, again, made a statement which is laughable, that the United States is not going to be responding to Russia's demands, which are presented in this proposition, or whatever you call it, ultimatum, let's call it what it is, ultimatum, by points that the United States is ready to talk in general. Well, if not, that's fine. Just write it in paper, and submit it for Russia and the United States to sign it, that the United States doesn't want to talk about it in any constructive way. And we'll see what happens. But that's what I'm trying to convey to people incessantly, and just trying to make the point time after time. Don't look and listen to this fluffy rhetoric. Look at the balance of forces which are involved and what is at stake. And as I already stated, the ambivalence is the best way Russia can basically offer itself for the negotiations, because Russia can certainly invade Ukraine if Russia wants it, and United States will absolutely do nothing about it. And the only thing which United States can do against Russia, as I already stated also not for once, is to impose those what they call sanctions from hell, or deadly sanctions, which for Russia will be probably just minor inconvenience for a while, and then it wouldn't matter anyhow. So yeah, I mean, United States wants to attack Russia's sovereign debt. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, just turn off Russia from SWIFT. Well, the alternative is already in place. So what are you going to do about it? Exactly, that's the whole point. There is a famous commentator in Russian mass media or media sphere. It's Senator Pushkov, who commented yesterday, not unjustifiably. I usually don't take him too seriously. But in this particular case, he was absolutely correct when he stated that the United States cannot introduce this sanctions from hell, because once they introduce it, and Russia as always will shrug it off and just will continue to carry on, there will be nothing left except for the war. But the United States cannot conduct the war against Russia in conventional way because it will be defeated. So what are you going to do? Do you want to start nuclear war? Well, recent statement by the 5 nuclear powers is very kind of, hopeful, and it's good that this statement was made. And although many people justifiably say that, oh, it reeks of Gorbachevщина, or basically those, fluffy and pompous statements when the time of Gorbachev was talking about the disarmament in 1980s. But truth is, it's good that people say, yeah, we understand nuclear war is the end of it, so we don't want it to do it. So what's left for the United States? And there's nothing. And when you look at it, that Russia certainly can, and already the condition is there. You don't do it the way we want, peaceful and, in negotiation with the all decorum preserved, and you giving, Russia giving the United States and the West at least some face-saving exit, then it's going to be done the hard way. So in this case, we are obviously free to speculate on what really sparked the Kazakhstan situation. Could it be the coincidence? Well, it's definitely suspicious coincidence. But the point is, If United States doesn't negotiate or doesn't address those points, then, well, Russia will do it the hard way. Simple as that. Russia can do it, United States cannot. And that's as simple as that. There is nothing to it. So basically, if you look at the Kazakhstan situation from this point of view, okay, apart from the fact that Kazakhstan is, I will admit now, the legitimacy of its existence as such, as a nation, because it really was the part of Russian Empire, and it was the Khaganate, and it's complex history there. But eventually, hey, Russia can, at some point of time, will, if things will continue to go the Ukrainian way, Russia will just basically appropriate the, let's be very clear about it, primarily Russian populated and stable and a more economically viable north, and then what are you going to do about it? So, but it's just in the future. For now, we probably will see there some of the Kabul forces and other efforts on the part of Kazakh government to stabilize the situation, to roll back those these cows back into the stable, so to speak, and they're probably starting prosecuting people who who played a substantial role in unleashing this hell basically on the streets of Kazakh cities. But there is no doubt that majority of the countries, or majority of the post-Soviet republics, they wanted Russians out so badly. Well, Russians, obliged. They went back. Guess what? Russia is a very rich country, and it's improving. And despite all the obstacles, it continues to develop. And there is no doubt about that. People are getting richer in Russia. While the rest of the people, I mean, look at the Middle Asia. It's basically, it's one hugely underdeveloped region. And no matter how you, the same as you do it, as I already stated, in Dubai or in Qatar, no matter how many shopping malls you will erect there, but you cannot change the historical fates of people who, basically, they are Muslims. And once the radical Islam begins to take hold there, it's over. And we need to be very clear about that. So don't expect that, oh yeah, there will be some Iranian variations there. Iran also has its own huge problems. But in Middle Asia, they were always susceptible to the spread of the most radical forms of Islam, and many people in the West especially, they do not understand that one of the major reasons for the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979 was a growing radicalization of the Fergana Valley, which in Uzbekistan, which was one of the hot seats of the radical Islam. And, well, guess what? The United States got acquainted it firsthand at 9/11. So Russians have been at it for a long time before. So that's my main kind of couple of points I wanted to make today, and I'm still recovering, but still I'm out there, and I'm getting ready to provide substantial informational service for you guys. And because of that, don't forget to subscribe. And you don't have to like me, but you subscribe and support me on Patreon, so for me to provide more and more information and basic facts on the geopolitical situation. And hopefully I will improve enough soon to be much more often on YouTube than it has been the case before. So again, subscribe. Support me on Patreon, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.